Hello Kaiju fans, welcome back to the Kaiju World Order. My name is MM, and today we are going to be talking about one of the most hated Kaiju sequels of all time. I'm not talking about Godzilla's Revenge or Godzilla Final Wars, but instead Pacific Rim Uprising. And with me today is my good buddy from the Great White North itself, Kaiju Canuck. How you doing?
Great White North is apt. We got our first snowstorm of the season today, and so I was out shoveling earlier. Oh,
that sounds so fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But other than that, I'm doing great, MM. Thank you for having me back on the channel.
Oh, thank you for coming. So, Pacific Rim Uprising. When's the last time you've seen it?
In full, it's been a long time, but earlier this year, I went through a round of like watching a bunch of the clips, like some of the more higher action scene, like higher paced, faster paced action scenes. Like, I love the Antarctica fight. I think that scene's great. So stuff like that, I've been sort of rewatching here and there, but I have not sat down to watch it through in quite some time.
Do you remember like the characters and what happened to the legacy characters from the first movie?
You mean the one? Well, no, there's other legacy characters.
Yeah, you got Newt and
Gottlieb. Is that
his sidekick. And then you have Makem, which is like borderline cameo when wasted.
Yes,
and that seems to be where everybody hates Pacific Rim Uprising for.
I mean, there's other stuff wrong with it, but like that didn't do anything. That didn't do any favors for it.
It didn't, and that's where like, because last time I watched it, it was like the first time I ever watched Pacific Rim Uprising without immediately like preceding it with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch Pacific Rim Uprising and it's right after the first one, which is about as perfect as a Hollywood kaiju movie you're going to get, the second one really falters. Like, there's no way it was going to ever hit the same bar that the first Pacific Rim did. If not just because Del Toro wasn't directing again, but you didn't have the cast, you didn't have the writing, the set design, or anything from the first one. But if you ignore the fact that it's a Pacific Rim sequel and look at it on its own merits, is it really as bad as we think it is?
Okay, but it is a Pacific Rim sequel.
It is.
And it has legacy characters.
It does.
You can't just be like, it's in a bubble and it's not that bad. Like, no, it's part of an established universe.
All right, so do you think which is worse? Pacific Rim Uprising or the Star Wars sequels?
We're just in a race to the bottom. Like,
I would take Pacific Rim Uprising over any of the Star Wars sequels, and I would even argue a handful of the Marvel movies, every not James Gunn, but Zack Snyder DC movie, and a handful of the Transformers movies.
Oh God, yeah. I've told the story I think before on Harold's stream, maybe. But I really wanted to see Transformers 5 the last night and had nobody to go with. So I like really like grinded down my dad. I'm like, come on, man. And he's like, eventually he's like, fine, I'll go see this stupid movie. And then we get there and within like the first 30 seconds, like they make some stupid joke and they leave time for the audience to laugh, but nobody was laughing in my audience. And I was like, oh no, I feel so bad for what's about to happen. Yeah.
Uprising has some of the same problems.
Yep.
Just the characters are really hurting because when you look at the Jaeger stuff, like Gypsy Avenger looks okay. It's not as iconic as Gypsy Danger, but that's also because in the first one they they did like a lot of micro designing for like Gypsy Danger, like even the way it walks.
Oh, for all of them have really subtle details put in, and like the best example I can give you is that like I have the Ling Jihun figures. Like I have Gypsy Danger, I have Crimson, and I have Gypsy Avenger. And like when I look at what has gone into Gypsy and Crimson's design, like there's a lot of love put into it, a lot of little intricacies here and there. Like on Gypsy's calves, you can see a lot of like the springs, and then he's got like the exhaust ports on his back. All that stuff is there. Like it seems very thoughtful, very well intentioned. And then you have Gypsy Avenger, and there's nothing like that on anywhere on the figure. It's all sleek panel lines.
Gypsy Danger felt like a character. Gypsy Avenger just felt like a robot. Like even the way Danger moved, they based like its movements on John Wayne's gaits and like the old westerns and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that with Avenger. Like all the robots in Uprising, they don't have that personality. Like even Cherno Alpha, which was only in like action for
one scene,
had more character in that scene than like every robot, every Jaeger in Uprising. And part of that I also think goes with the casting for the pilots of the other Jaegers, where for some reason we're gonna put teenagers in these now. That was my biggest gripe with Uprising, was when they introduced Little Miss Badass with her junkyard Jaeger, and that's when it took downhill. Like I could take like, you know, taking Mako out, taking was it Raleigh?
Yeah.
The Beckett brothers, taking them out. But when they replaced it with teenagers, and they weren't even like, you know, good written teenagers like something from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
They seemed like they belonged in a Transformers movie. Like you could have put Shia LaBeouf in that roster right there from Transformers, and it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
Yeah, like it really just takes you out of it a little bit. Like you see, because you actually spend a little bit of time with the Jaeger pilots in the first movie. Not very much time, mind you, but enough time to know that like these are highly trained professionals, right? And then you go to Pacific Rim Uprising, where first of all, it's kids for some reason piloting these giant things, which raises like quite a few questions. Like, you know, what are the standards? Also, like, do you use children because you consider them more expendable than the rest of your military? Like what on earth? But also, like, you remember Idris Elba's character, like Stacker Pentecost, going through the Shatter Dome in that first movie, and he's walking through like each of the Jaegers, and he's talking about Cherno. He's like, Cherno's a Mark 1. You know, it's an old machine, but it's a you know, or it's an old one, but it's a brutal war machine, right? Talks about Crimson Typhoon. He's like, yeah, triplets, and whatever. Like he's going through each of the Jaegers and talking about their personalities and their backstories. There's nothing like that anywhere in Uprising, and probably because it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter because that much thought didn't go into any of them.
No, like they get attacked by the drones, and then you would think, like, remember in the first one, after like the battle at Hong Kong, they had to repair Gypsy and Stryker to go into the breach and everything. Well, after the drones attack and seemingly kill all the actual pilots that they had, not only did the kids have to strap up and get into like, you know, the pilot for these things, they had to fix them. They literally brought the little junkyard girl out, and she's like, oh, we're gonna fix everything now, along with the right on cue Chinese lady that everybody was like, you know, suspicious of at first. It's really bad writing, and I think a lot of that could have just easily been avoided if they would have cut almost all those characters out and just left them as like, you know, side characters in a sense, like just barely had any lines, focused on like I'd say cut the teenage girl out, the scrapper and everything. I would bring Herc Henson back from the first one. Let him be the trainer instead of that not Clint Eastwood, but I think it's his son.
Mm-hmm.
And then John Boyega. Now I like John Boyega, but he's not Idris Elba.
No, he's not. And there was an interesting dynamic there to introduce Stacker Pentecost's son that you never hear about in the first film, right? Like, you're so busy hearing about Mako that when Jake, I think it's Jake, right? When Jake gets brought in, it's like, oh, like, I didn't know he had a son. Like, there was room to navigate that, but they don't really go anywhere with that. They don't tell you a story that makes Jake like sympathetic.
He was just a loser that made a bad decision and then got drafted in just at the same time as the Newt was doing his shit with the drones. It was all just luck.
Yeah, and then like you could have had a really interesting dynamic with Mako, but then they killed her. Like there was any chance for a story that could have been compelling or captivating, they just gutted it.
They should have just let Mako out of it and just said she was off friend zoning Raleigh somewhere. And just let them have their happy ending right there.
Yeah.
And then just focused on John Boyega's character. What was it? I think I want to call him Finn, but that was his name in
there's Jake.
Jake, that was it.
Jake Pentecost, right? Like there could have been this really interesting dynamic between Mako and Jake, where Mako's trying to mentor Jake in Stacker's absence because he died, and maybe Jake's like, you know, not having that because this is his adoptive sister who always got the limelight instead of him, right? And that would have been so, because let's face it, what makes Pacific Rim, the first one, interesting is not the overabundance of action scenes with the robots and the kaiju.
There's really not that much.
There's really not that much. The scenes that do exist are very well crafted. You feel the weight of the characters. You feel where the budget went in, right?
The camera angles.
Angles
matched up with like a helicopter and everything. Oh.
Yes, for sure, right? Like the battle at the docks when like Gypsy's just like pounding into Leatherback's head and you get the angle from the helicopter, right? Like dynamic visuals like that. But then you have a cast of characters, of human characters who, you know, they're not groundbreaking by any means, but they feel real. They feel like real people, and they're enough to keep the story going while you have downtime from the action scenes. Uprising just guts all of that out because the director and like John Boyega, because I think it was John Boyega's production company or whatever that got involved, like it just feels like they completely missed the point of what made Pacific Rim 1 special. And also, like, reminder that Pacific Rim 1 was not a big commercial success. It was...
Wasn't it a flop or a borderline flop?
It was more closer to that than it was like a huge success, right? But the people that did show up for it, there were things that they enjoyed. Now, granted, maybe John and the director Stephen DeKnight, maybe they came in and thinking, oh, like in order to get a wider audience, here are the changes we need to make. But
they took like, what was original and they Hollywoodized it. They took what was not a like normal Hollywood blockbuster and they turned it into a normal Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah, and then nobody showed up for it. Right? So yeah, like this idea that Pacific Rim Uprising is not that bad when it's the movie that basically put the franchise on life support. I don't know. I have a hard time subscribing to that idea.
But what? Because you know they're supposed to be doing a prequel series now, I believe, on Amazon.
Yes. Yes.
So assuming that is good, right? Maybe it salvages the franchise. Do you think Pacific Rim Uprising would still be warranted of as much hate as it gets now for killing it? Because let's look at the other franchises in general, not Hollywood ones. I want to talk about specific kaiju ones. Compare Godzilla Raids Again to Godzilla 54. Godzilla Raids Again would be hated if it was the only sequel to Godzilla right now.
Sure.
This is where we add the little ding 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 music.
Okay, I can't speak to Raids Again because I don't. By the time I got into Raids Again, so much time had passed. I actually like Godzilla Raids Again. I don't know that it's particularly good, but I enjoy that movie quite a lot.
That's kind of like what I'm saying with Uprising.
But okay, but I'll give you a different one. Okay, here's a great example. Actual blockbuster that I lived through was Transformers 2007 and then Transformers Revenge of the Fallen 2009. Okay, I was alive to experience that. That movie was so dog shit. And I say that as somebody who, as just a young little kid, was super fucking excited for that second movie. Yeah, bad movie. But then Dark of the Moon came out. And Dark of the Moon, I don't know if it was as good as the first one, but it's my favorite one. And
it's better than the second one.
It's much better than the second one.
The second one is one of them ones that it's a weird thing to say, but literally it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. When I'm thinking of bad movies to watch, I'm like, oh, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and I'm just like, eh. The first one I like. I would gladly take Uprising over Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is a case of race to the bottom. But Dark of the Moon, I think, did a lot to bring the franchise back from where Revenge of the Fallen put them. Looking back, we're even talking about it right now. Revenge of the Fallen is still a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It's still a terrible movie, but at least it's not the movie that nearly killed the franchise. Well,
see, I don't know, because I don't know.
Maybe it is the movie that nearly killed the franchise, but the franchise is still bounced back after that movie. So at least it's not the movie that did kill the franchise. Whereas Pacific Rim Uprising, it's come pretty damn close. We saw it gotten a feature film.
It's not a good movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying, I do think it gets heated on too much, if only because it's the only sequel. And on its own, I think it's rather enjoyable. It's bad. It's not a good movie, but it's okay. That's all I'm kind of saying about Pacific Rim Uprising.
It's okay. Okay, we're gonna look up Pacific Rim Uprising Rotten Tomatoes. I want to know what the critics said and what the audience said.
Oh,
okay.
Well, yeah, it got shit on by both, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, critics 42%, which is actually a lot higher than I think it would get today. And audience rating was 37%. So, is it an okay movie on its own? I'll give you this, it's a mindless kaiju action film, right? It's the junk food of kaiju film.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay? It's the junk food again, the Antarctic fight. I love the Antarctic fight. Okay, I think Obsidian Fury is a cool antagonist Jaeger. That was one area where it was this could be something really cool, really interesting.
They should have kept it for the entire movie.
I agree with that. But it's just honestly, the reveal of it was okay. The fact it was piloted by a kaiju brain, it's okay, that's kind of interesting, right? But back to the prompt, like, is it's a junk food of kaiju action films. But it does have that legacy to it where it did put the franchise on life support, unfortunately. And I don't think enough time has passed in the same way something like Godzilla Raids Again has, right? Like, that was 70 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think enough time has passed.
You know somebody's gonna listen to this and be like, oh, you can't compare Godzilla Raids Again to Pacific Rim Uprising.
I just think that not enough time has passed for people to, like, forget about the role that Pacific Rim Uprising had. Like, it could very well be that in 20 years' time, there are many other projects that Pacific Rim is remembered for. And like, Pacific Rim Uprising will just be looked at as a speed bump. But it might also be the thing that the franchise never did quite bounce back from. Which would suck. That would be terrible.
How did you feel about Newt being the bad guy? Like, I kind of, like, saw it coming. Like, when we first heard, like, you know, the rumors of it, I was like, yeah, I could kind of believe it, because even in the first one, he was already like, ooh, I love the kaiju and everything.
So what year was Uprising?
I think it was 18?
2018. Okay. So I was not, like, super duper online in those days. Like, I didn't know anything about people theorizing about Newt. I didn't catch any of that. So when he turned around and was like, I'm ending the world, I was like, what the heck? So I was caught off guard by it. So one thing that was not clear to me in the movie, and maybe it's the movie's fault, maybe it's my fault, I wasn't really clear why the world needed Jaegers in a post-kaiju and a post-breach world.
It seemed like they were there in case the kaiju came back.
Yeah, but then you have, like, November Ajax just, like, on patrol.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you patrolling? Aren't Jaegers something that's, like, super resource intensive? Like,
yeah.
Why would you be piloting them if you don't need to be so?
And then people making junk ones. It's like,
yeah. So I wasn't really clear who the antagonist of Pacific Rim Uprising was going to be. Like, obviously it's gonna be kaiju because they blew their load on all the marketing. They just showed you the mega kaiju and everything right up front. I don't think, save for, like, the final killing blow, I don't think any of it was withheld from the promo material. But I guess back to it, the Newt reveal. It makes sense given that they nuked the precursors in the first movie, but it just felt like another twist of the knife to the cast of the first movie. Like, they kill off Mako. Okay. Well, now I'm on tilt, right? I don't like this movie as much because you killed somebody from the first one. And then you do this to Newt where you make him the villain. It's just like, oh man, come on. Like,
it makes you want the redemption. That's kind of like, you know, people were talking about for the end of it when the Newt's captured.
Yeah.
It seems like they would be building up to something where Newt could possibly, I don't know, hive mind together the kaiju and turn them against the precursors or something. I don't know. But it seems like they're building up to a Newt redemption. And then we of course don't ever get it. Unless they do it in, I believe they're doing also a comic series, which is a sequel to round it out.
Yeah, it's Pacific Rim: The Final Breach.
Yeah.
It's a comic follow-up to Uprising, and I guess the first movie, because John Boyega's character's there, Raleigh's going to be there. The newest Gypsy model is called Gypsy Destroyer, so that's going to be the third Gypsy for the third movie, or third entry, I guess.
Which I guess then it's kicking Pacific Rim the Blackout of canon, which I'm okay with, because if you watch Pacific Rim the Black, like, it's okay, but it's already like all over the place with what's canon and what's not.
Yeah, I always thought of the Black as like a diverging timeline.
Yeah.
That's how I thought about it. Because, like you said, like it leaves no room for. It's not that it leaves no room, but I don't feel like it leaves much room to follow up on like the events of like Uprising. But yeah, I hope the comic is good. To me, it just feels like it goes out. The movie series goes out with a whimper rather than a bang. But hopefully the comic is really good. Like if it's a good story, then it's a good story.
If it's really popular, you never know. Maybe it would revitalize interest in the third movie.
Maybe.
Especially with a prequel. Is the prequel series going to be live action or animated?
I don't know if they've confirmed.
I thought it was confirmed.
Yeah, I don't. If you ask me to pick, I'm gonna think that it's live action, but I'm not sure.
No, I just googled it. Yeah, a live action Pacific Rim television series from Eric Heiser, based on Legendary's epic giant robot film franchise, is in development at Amazon. Deadline has confirmed. Legendary will produce the series as the lead studio for Prime Video with Amazon MGM Studios. So yeah, it will be a live action one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's interesting. And I hope it's good. Like I'd love to see Brawler Yukon.
Coyote Tango with the
Coyote Tango would be cool to see in action. Like I hope Idris Elba comes back for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of like lore wise for the like stuff that happened before Pacific Rim. Like the story of Pacific Rim. There's a lot of stuff before that was hinted at. Like there was a big battle that had like 3 different Jaegers against, and like I think Category 3. I think it was Yamarashi.
Yes, that sounds right.
Arm or something like that.
Yeah, I read the comic Tales from the Drift, which I thought was really cool actually. So did you read it?
No, unfortunately.
So it follows the pilots of Tacit Ronin. And one of the angles that I really appreciated was that the pilots of Tacit Ronin didn't really get along, despite the fact that they were drift compatible. And that was an interesting dynamic. It's like you have 2 people that seem to work well in piloting the Jaeger, but they actually kind of hate each other's guts. So I thought that was a cool dimension to explore, right? And it ends off on like a really somber note, because like in Pacific Rim 1, like you see the remains of the 3 prequel Jaegers.
Yeah.
And so you find out what happens to Tacit Ronin. But no, I really liked that. So I think that maybe it's just like going back to the world building around Pacific Rim 1. I'm optimistic for this prequel show. Just because I feel like the direction of Uprising was the wrong direction.
Yep.
Like I would love to give these guys all the credit in the world that they were trying to make changes that made the universe more appealing to the wider audience and to give the franchise more legs. But I think that, like, unironically, in trying to breathe more life into it, they took the breath out of it.
We took a lot of creativity out of it. Like,
yes,
it jumped the shark when they were putting the jetpacks on the back of the Jaegers. But then the Russian kid starts playing that Trollo song.
Oh my god, song. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, it was at that point when I love that, like, trolling with that. But as soon as I saw that, and I'm like, oh no, that was cringe. That was just, Then like the middle fingers with the kids when they're fighting the kaiju. And it's
Hakuja barrels into the ground.
Yeah, and
these things aren't so tough.
It's like I miss Idris Elba and stuff because he would have just not done that type of crap.
Yeah, the idea of bringing Herc Herc back is a good one. That would have probably made more sense. Yeah, man, it's just it's a film that just betrays its its predecessor. That's where I land with the movie. It betrays its predecessor.
I get that. I just don't think it deserves all the hate it gets. Kind of like it. And I like it as a bad movie.
Look, I'm of the opinion that you can like bad movies as long as you acknowledge that they're bad movies.
100%. 100%. That's why I'm a Godzilla fan. Most of the Godzilla movies are bad.
There's a lot of bad Godzilla movies.
Oh, that's
but at least they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I think that about covers it.
Alrighty.
Anything else you want to add about Pacific Rim?
Anything else I want to add about Pacific Rim?
Any Super 7 Pacific Rim news?
I would love to tell you that, but I don't think they're doing it. Nah, man. Pacific Rim. I think the first film is great. I like The Black. I think The Black is a cool, like, what if type show. And hopefully someday we'll get a proper sequel to the first movie.
Or Monsterverse crossover. You know I had to say that eventually.
I do, yeah. I get it.
Alright. I think that covers it all. About, what, 30-minute? Yeah, 30-minute long video.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for having me back, MM. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak my piece around Pacific Rim Uprising.
All right, Kaiju fans. Until next time, peace out. Thanks for coming
See you later.
again. And yeah, see y'all next time.
Take care, guys.
Zilla says you should like and subscribe.